Howdy doody everybody, this is Mrs. MacPhail. Today your learning objective by the end of this video is to be able to draw and name polygons with a certain number of vertices or sides. You'll remember that vertices are where two sides meet at a point or an angle. Okay, that would be the vertice. And then the side is what makes up the shape. Okay? So what is a polygon? Is it something you say when you see an empty parrot cage? Polygon. Mr. Nutty told me to tell you that joke. It's pretty terrible. I agree. That's actually not what it is. Let's actually take a look at the true definition of it. A polygon, here your vocabulary cards are once again online. We have a link for you under the Symbaloo page. Poly, actually, the beginning of the word, this prefix, means many. And gon, the end of the word or our suffix, stands for angle. So if you put those two together, if you squash them back together, it means many angles. Kind of cool, huh? And along with that, many angles, many sides. But we don't say polylateral or anything like that. We just say polygon. So how do you name polygons? I have a shape that I've drawn here that has 5 sides and 5 angles, or vertices. Here's side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4, and side 5. And if you remember, those sides where they meet are called angles or vertices. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a shape that has 5 sides and 5 vertices, or 5 angles. And so I'm going to teach you a method of how you can remember these in kind of a cool way by splitting up the word into 2 parts. And now once again, maybe you know this already, but this is a pentagon. It's a shape that has 5 angles or 5 vertices and 5 sides. So do you remember when I showed you polygon and we kind of just chopped it down the middle, right? We split poly into the first part of the word, the prefix, and then the suffix. So we're actually going to do this with some of our other words as well. If you were to split up the word pentagon into 2 parts, so if you were to just chop the word down, so you're looking for the letters G-O-N at the end, and then the beginning of the word, you can see I've done it in different colors down below. Gon, once again, means angle, and penta, believe it or not, means 5. Am I just making this up? I'm not making it up. All of these come from Greek words. So you're learning Greek, believe it or not. That's so awesome. So I have a whole chart here of prefixes, which are at the beginning of the word, and suffixes, which are at the end of the word. And remember, we're going to chop it off so that we have the gon and then the beginning part of the word, or the gon, which is the suffix, and then your prefix or the beginning part of your words. And all of these come from Greek, and they stand for something in Greek, and we just say them in English instead. Or we say them to mean something else in English. So let's stop for a second and think about what would the name of a 6-angle or 6-sided shape be. If you said hexagon, you would be correct. We can split that word apart into gon, which means angle, and then hexa, looking at our chart, we see is 6. Now you can also use your chart to put the words together, like hopefully you just did. You found that the 6 angles, here's the number 6, would be hexa, and then gon would come at the end of it. There are actually many types of polygons out there, and I actually drew a thinking map for you, a little tree map that we can use to help us remember the different types of polygons, because they can get a little confusing sometimes. I've broken this down into regular polygons and irregular polygons. Now, regular polygons are ones that look all nice and neat. Their sides are the same length, and their angles or their vertices are the same size. I shouldn't say vertices are the same size. I should just say that their angles are the same size. So they're regular, they're normal shapes. If they're irregular or not normal, sometimes their sides are not the same length, kind of like my rectangle here has different side lengths. Sometimes their angles are not the same size, but maybe their sides are still the same length. I'm just going to put hash marks to show that their sides are still the same length. And sometimes their angles aren't the same size, and their sides are not the same length. What kinds of polygons are there, and how do you draw them? Once again, remember that we can name polygons by the number of sides or angles that they have. So I'm going to switch over to my Elmo here, and I'm going to draw a 6-sided shape. And if you look at your little cheat sheet once again, I'll go back and show you that that would be a hexagon that we talked about before. So I'm going to draw 6 points because it will have 6 angles and 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm not saying if this is regular or irregular, I'm just going to draw it. And I'm going to use a straight edge or a ruler to connect and make line segments. So I'm connecting those points. It's kind of like color by the dots. It's super fun, right? But notice how my lines are nice and straight for the most part. Kind of made a little goofy one there. And I'm using those points in my ruler to help me connect my sides. So this is one way that we can draw our polygons. So once again, this is a 6-sided shape or a hexagon. Hexa meaning 6 and gon meaning angle. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, I'm going to show you one more. And this time I'm going to draw, get ready for it, a 10 angle or side shape. Wow. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I put my points. I'm going to use my straight edge again to draw. You will see that a 10-sided or 10-angled shape, or 10 angles, is, here's 10, deca, and then gon. So our 10-sided shape would be called a decagon. I think of 10 like deca, like decade, because decade is 10 years. That could help you remember it. Okay, there's one other thing I want to show you, and this has to do with what happens with those angles or the amount of turn that we've talked about before when you increase the number of sides in a regular polygon. So I'm going to start with a regular pentagon here, and I'm going to put the angles on, or that amount of turn. This is a 5-sided shape. Our pentagon has 5 sides. So I want you to watch what happens to this angle as I increase the number of sides and the number of angles. So now we have 6 sides and we went up to 120 degrees. Here's a 7-sided shape or 7 angles. We have 128.6 degrees. Notice how my angle number is increasing, or my degrees are increasing as I increase the number of sides or number of angles in my polygon. This is kind of a cool site that I'll give you access to play around with. So I wanted you to keep that in mind too. So let's go back to what we wanted to accomplish in this video. Your objective was to be able to draw and name a polygon with a certain number of vertices or angles and sides.